poor nurse got a wrong call at 3 a.m., she showed up anyway, and the single dad CEO never let her leave. This version is written in long, flowing paragraphs, rich with emotion, conflict, and heartfelt transformation, perfect for your YouTube channel Echoes of Life. It was 3:02 a.m. when her phone rang. Sophia Reyes had just barely drifted off to sleep in her tiny one-room apartment after a brutal double shift at the county hospital. The sound startled her awake, dragging her out of exhausted dreams into the cold, bitter reality of her life. The buzzing phone vibrated dangerously close to the edge of the second-hand nightstand, casting faint blue light against the peeling walls. Rain hammered against the window. Her whole body ached. She wasn't on call. She had no reason to answer. And yet, something told her to pick it up. A man's voice, deep, shaking, strained with desperation, spilled through the speaker. He kept apologizing, said he'd dialed the wrong number. He had been trying to reach Nurse Ella. His daughter, only 5, was burning with fever. He didn't know what to do. He sounded terrified. And in the background, faint and heartbreaking, was the weak, barely there sob of a child. Sophia could have ended the call. She could have rolled over, forgotten the mistake, and gone back to sleep like anyone else would. But she didn't. Something in his voice pierced her, reminded her of a kind of fear she'd once known herself. She didn't ask many questions. She just got up, threw on dry clothes, grabbed her worn-out nurse bag, and stepped into the storm. The address he gave led to the other side of the city, a neighborhood she'd only seen from behind the wheel of her Uber job, where houses looked like museums and gates rose taller than her dreams. She had no business being there. And yet, she showed up anyway. If you believe in the power of kindness, in the beauty of second chances, and in the magic of unexpected encounters, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Echoes of Life. Your support helps us continue bringing stories that echo in the heart long after the video ends. The mansion loomed in front of her like something from a forgotten fairy tale. Lights glowing softly through curtains. A long driveway slick with rain. The gates had already been opened, as if the house itself was waiting for her. Her cheap sneakers squished against the polished stone as she reached the door. Before she could even knock, it opened. The man who stood there looked nothing like the corporate giants she'd seen on the covers of business magazines. His name, Alaric Grayson, was known around the world, synonymous with power and success. But that night, he looked nothing like the headlines. His face was pale, unshaven. His eyes were hollowed with sleepless worry. A little girl, frail and flushed, clung to his pant leg, her tiny body trembling. Without hesitation, Sophia knelt before the child. The fever was high. Dangerous. Lila, he said. Her name was Lila. Her mother had passed away 6 months ago in a car accident, and since then, Alaric had been trying, failing, mostly, to be everything to his daughter, a parent, a protector, a guide through grief. But now, with Lila fading in his arms, all his billions meant nothing. Sophia worked with calm precision, her fingers gentle but firm. She knew this world. Not the marble floors or gold chandeliers, but the world of fevers and panic, of helpless fathers and frightened little girls. She got Lila's temperature down, stayed until she slept peacefully, and only then did she glance at the time. It was nearly 6 a.m. She should have gone. She didn't belong there. But when she stood, Alaric looked at her, not with gratitude, but with something quieter. Something deeper. A kind of awe. He asked if she could stay for breakfast. Just to make sure. For Lila's sake. She hesitated, but something in the child's sleeping face anchored her. She stayed. What was meant to be a one-time emergency call turned into a routine. Sophia started coming by every few days after work. Then every evening. She brought board games and soup. She taught Alaric how to take a proper temperature and what signs to watch for. Lila began waiting at the window for her. She would run into Sophia's arms with a kind of love that can't be faked or forced. Sophia, who had grown up in the foster system, unwanted, unchosen, had spent her life giving care without ever really receiving it. For the first time, someone needed her in a way that felt permanent. For the first time, someone wanted her to stay. But not everyone saw it that way. Alaric's world was sharp-edged and built on appearances. The board of directors whispered. Investors sent subtle warnings. His assistant, Monica, confronted him one evening during a meeting, asking if he understood what was at stake. "You built your life on control, Alaric," she said. "You're risking it all. For a woman who came from nowhere." But he knew better. He had seen how Sophia filled his house with warmth. How she made Lila smile again. How she never asked for anything, never overstepped, never pretended to be more than what she was, kind, steady, and real. Still, Sophia began to pull away. She told herself it was temporary. That she was doing them a favor by not getting too close. She picked up more shifts. Spent less time at the mansion. She told herself she was being responsible. But deep down, she was terrified of being left again. Of loving them too much. Then, one night, everything changed. Lila had a severe allergic reaction while eating dinner with the nanny. Her throat began to close. Panic ensued. Alaric was in a business meeting across town. The staff didn't know what to do. In the chaos, he dialed the only person who had ever made him feel like everything would be okay. "Sophia," he said, voice shaking. "Please come. Please." She ran out of the hospital without clocking out. Drove like a woman possessed. When she reached the emergency room, Lila was already stabilized, but still unconscious. Sophia pushed past security, past the nurses she used to work beside, and into the room where a billionaire CEO sat hunched beside his daughter's bed, tears streaming down his face. And when Lila woke, the first word out of her mouth was, "Mama." Something cracked open in Sophia. Something ancient and aching. She sat down and wept, right there, in front of everyone. She had spent her whole life pretending to be strong. That night, she allowed herself to be human. Alaric took her hand and didn't let go. After that night, he didn't ask. He didn't beg. He simply made space, for her clothes in the closet, for her favorite mug in the kitchen, for her laughter in the halls. Sophia moved in. Not as a guest. Not as a helper. But as part of the family. The tabloids went wild. The billionaire and the nurse. They made it sound like a scandal. A pity story. But the truth was far simpler. He loved her. Lila adored her. And slowly, she learned to love herself too. They built a life together, not one of luxury, but of healing. Saturday pancakes. Sunday puzzles. A garden that Lila and Sophia tended together. Alaric, once a titan in glass towers, now found his greatest joy sitting on the kitchen floor building Lego castles with the two people who saved him. But life still had one more chapter to write. One morning, Sophia received a letter from a hospice center. Her estranged father was dying. The same man who had abandoned her after her mother's death. He wanted to see her. To say goodbye. She hesitated. She wasn't sure she owed him that. Alaric encouraged her to go. He held her while she cried. "Sometimes," he said, "we heal not for them, but for us." She went. The reunion wasn't magical. It wasn't perfect. But it gave her something she didn't know she needed, closure. He apologized. Told her he had followed her journey from afar. That seeing her in a nurse's uniform made him realize how much strength she had found in the ruins he left behind. He died 3 days later. Peacefully. With her hand in his. When she returned, Lila ran into her arms. Alaric had cooked dinner. The three of them sat together that night, eating quietly, holding the silence like a prayer. In the months that followed, Sophia started a foundation, a non-profit that supported nurses from broken homes and low-income backgrounds. She named it Lila's Light. Alaric helped with funding, but he made sure she was the one at the front of every press conference. She had always been behind the curtain. Now, it was time for the world to see her shine. On the anniversary of the night they met, Sophia and Alaric held a small ceremony in their backyard. Just close friends. Lila served as the ring bearer, grinning with a front tooth missing. And as vows were exchanged under fairy lights, Sophia whispered to Alaric, "Thank you for calling the wrong number." He smiled back. "It was the only right thing I've ever done." If this story touched your heart, if it reminded you that love can come from the most unexpected places, and that a single act of kindness can change everything, please like, comment, share, and subscribe to Echoes of Life. These stories live because of you. Speech balloon before you go, let us know in the comments, what part of this story stayed with you the most. We read every comment, and your words inspire us to keep going.